All right, I am here with Raya Skogland, and currently she is helping founders build their brand, fundraise, and scale. How's it going, Raya?
Going well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Excited.
I'm excited to really dig into your past and everything and your successes. There's multiple exits to kind of talk about here. But before we get there, let's talk about your background. How did you get started in business and entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So my background actually, I started in private banking. I was in my very early 20s in investment management, trading, risk management, and my last position in banking was actually wealth management for Middle East clients. But great titles, good money in Switzerland, but I really was not passionate about what I was doing. Maybe one day I'll go back to banking. Who knows? But at that time, I was not really into that. So I was just an entrepreneur. I could see problems and I was trying to figure out solutions. I wanted also to explore my own potential. You're in your early 20s. You have all these dreams and you wonder, who am I actually? I was searching for myself. I had an opportunity to come to Norway because I married a Norwegian man. And when we came to Norway, for me, it was starting a new book and writing my own story, deciding who I wanted to be, who I could be. I started by, I was aware that I didn't know anybody, I didn't speak the language, I still don't really speak the language. I didn't have any friends, and I really didn't. I did start a few companies with friends in Geneva, in Switzerland. However, nothing picked up, failure after failure. So I felt I knew nothing about business. I needed to continue exploring and learning. So I started by connecting with founders very quickly. Um, Very quickly, I actually built a big community of founders with over 1,000 founder part of my community, my network, within less than a year because I was hosting monthly networking events for founders. Originally, the idea was for me to meet people and make new friends who are founders because we share that passion for entrepreneurship. And very quickly, that became a product itself, a community with founders coming back and more founders. And every month, I had up to 300 people coming at my events, which were simply networking. And that was actually the foundation of everything I've built. That was my market research without realizing what I was looking for, what I was doing. I I had this wish to help, and I was asking everybody I was meeting, what can I do for you? Because I wanted to learn from them but also contribute. And that question, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Created so many opportunities to me. One of them, it's networking with everybody, giving back, paying it forward, led me to building the community, launching the hub.io, which is today the largest job platform for startups to recruit talent in the Nordics. I launched it in Norway. We were in different countries. And one thing after the other, everything started because I was curious. I was passionate about entrepreneurship. I wanted to know who I was, what could I create, and I really wanted to helping
Mhm.
others and figuring out how can I support them.
Yeah.
That's the background story behind everything I've done.
Well said. Well said. And I like what you mentioned about just searching for problems. I think a lot of people overthink it when it comes to, like, at the core of entrepreneurship. It's finding a problem to solve, and the size of that problem is usually, the market reaction is what is received, in terms of value extraction and everything. So I think there's a lot of really good knowledge nuggets there. But let's talk a little bit about your first success, this the job, sort of
Platform.
opportunity board. And let's talk about what you were tracking. What types of things were you using to define success?
You mean when we launched the hub.io in Norway?
Yes.
Or, well, success when we launched the job platform, the marketplace, was defined by KPIs that
Hmm.
we agreed on before we launched. So we had the community, but we had to ensure progress by hitting certain KPIs that were very ambitious.
Hmm.
That was one thing. When you have the KPIs and you know that next month you need to get 200 new companies signing up on your platform with maybe 500 jobs listed on your platform, you start to figure out your way, how to hack your growth.
Hmm.
I think that's the ambitious KPIs helped us really stretch ourselves, support each other. We were in different countries, country managers in different countries. Uh, thank God, I mean, we were blessed to be funded by a bank, a huge bank in the Nordics. So we had the money, but not like endless money. We had money to be able to actually invest in people to build the company, the
Hmm.
platform.
Hmm.
So KPIs, high ambitions, and hacking your growth, figuring out, okay, next month I need to add 200 new companies. Where do I find them? So one of the hacks that we used is that we went to find a list of companies, startups uh, created in Norway. You have, and in the Nordics, you have access to these databases from the state, provided by the state. These are the amount of companies that were created this year. This is what they do, and so on. So we were finding this list and creating the profiles of each company already on the platform. So let's say I find your company and you have no clue who we are. I go ahead, I find your website, I create your profile on our platform, and we send it to you for validation. So every day we had an intern creating 50 platforms, going on their website, taking their values, the pictures, creating the description, finding even the jobs that they're posting, whether it's on their social media channels or their own website, creating the jobs, sending them a link saying, we know you're busy. We created this profile for you and the jobs are already there. Please validate if you want to join. If you don't want to join, let us know. And within 24 hours, we delete your profile. So we had to come up with things like that to accelerate our growth.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's kind of fast forward to the exit. Like, how did that begin, and what was that progression like?
So the exit I had was not related to the hub. I left the hub after 2 years and the management contract moved to another company. And my company continued solving another problem. When I was managing the hub in Norway, we were helping startups recruit talent, but I could see many were coming to us to find investors or to, learn how to actually build their business. I ended up advising each one of them. Within 2 years, we had all the startups in Norway, which was at that time 2016, 17, over 1,000 something, 1,200 plus companies. So I was in touch with all these companies, and many of them were getting in touch with me, asking me, Raya, okay, thank you for the whatever work you do, the work you do with the hub. But actually, do you know anybody who can advise us on growth? Who can help us with marketing, who can help us get an introduction to investors, who can review our pitch, and so on and so on. So I started to connect the dots and helping them first. And at some point, I was like, okay, I have all these companies coming my way. 2016, 17. This is before I will tell you the story. So I had all these companies coming my way, and I needed to figure out how to help them. So I came up with organizing an online accelerator for startups to go from idea to investors. And actually, what I'm still doing now is from the idea to exit. So, from idea to investors, I pitched it to the hub and to our biggest partner, the bank. They were not aligned with that. It was not matching our KPIs aligned with the strategy. So, I went my way. I decided to leave the hub. This is why I decided to leave the hub to continue building my vision to create an online Nordic accelerator helping startups with tapping into a knowledge and network of experts. I've done that myself, a company. You have to build a platform, you have to find experts, record content, promote it, sell it, and so on and so on. After a year, I met one of the largest accelerators in Norway, an early stage VC, and that was really um, I met them. Basically, I met that person, that guy, at his place because his wife invited me to have lunch on a Sunday lunch with kids to get to know each other. She was a mom in the school. We had kids in the same class, if I remember, or in the same grade at the same level. She was also part and active in the startup community. She was an angel investor. And basically, she simply invited me to have lunch, Sunday lunch, to get to know each other since we have similar interests. This is where her husband, who I didn't know at that time, who's managing one of the largest accelerators in the Nordics, We started to get to know each other, and immediately he told me, "Well, Raya, you know what? I'm actually I like what you're doing. I like this the vision of an online accelerator. There's nothing like that right now in the Nordics. So, you know what? Join us. Can you join us? Are you interested in joining us as head of fintech? You have a finance background. We have fintech companies. You can coach them. You can work with us, and let's see how it goes when it comes to your platform. What do we do with it?"
Mhm.
After over a year running that accelerator, bootstrapping, small team, doing many mistakes as well, when it comes to things that I would not do again. And this is the way I'm running my business today is avoiding mistakes I've done in the past. And we can talk about that. So we were running out of money, chasing money, having sponsors, but not enough sponsors. You're probably familiar with the accelerator business. It's
Mhm.
not that easy to generate money with the via an accelerator. So I was happy to find a company that was interested in my accelerator that I could join, continue building my knowledge, more aligned with what I was doing, which is accelerating people. And let's see what happens with my program. Um, and so I joined as head of fintech, and 6 months later, COVID hit. When COVID hit, what I didn't mention is that before getting in touch with the factory who acquired my accelerator, before getting in touch with them, I was in touch with many other accelerators, some of the best ones in the Nordics. And everybody was telling me, "But Raya, who needs an online accelerator? Everybody comes to our co working space, everybody comes to our accelerator, everybody comes here. We don't need anything online." These are some of the best people who advise companies in Norway that I spoke to. And I was like, you know what? But when I was managing the hub, they were coming to me and I was advising them online. I can't do this one on one. I need to scale it. That was the problem I wanted to solve. So if you haven't experienced the need because it maybe doesn't match your business model, I saw the problem, I saw the need, and I want to come up with a solution. I created it. Now I'm looking for other people to team up with me. Maybe you have startups coming to your accelerator, but probably many don't have the capacity to leave their city and join you in Oslo or Stockholm. They live in another place. Why would they leave their family and habits and everything? Why can't they? Like today, it sounds basic, Why can't people join an online course? 5 years ago, it was
Mhm.
not basic. I had to educate people that there was a world online ready to be, ready to adopt online technologies and online courses and programs. I find today it's like everybody has taken at least one online course in their life. That was not the case a few years ago. That's why when I met Ingar at the factory, it was a good match. When COVID happened, my accelerator became very relevant, and it was an acquisition done in 10 days, within 10 days. 10 very stressful days, because when my accelerator was acquired, the platform was acquired, I also became at the same time CEO of the factory accelerators.
Mm.
So I went from head of fintech to becoming CEO of the factory accelerators. And at the same time, I was selling my platform to myself, not really to myself, but to the company that I was representing. So I had two hats. I had the hat as CEO of the accelerators, and I had the hat as CEO of my previous company. Here are a few challenges because whose interest do you protect in terms of negotiation? How do you negotiate that? You're wearing both hats. That's why it was very interesting 10 days. The acquisition went well, luckily, and it was acquired. And a few months later, I actually left again because I saw another gap in the market.
Nice, very
That's
nice.
the story in
So
short.
yeah, and COVID really just took off and was like a forced education, for
Exactly.
everybody for the importance of online and everything. So in terms of, you said there were right there at the end that you stayed there for a couple months. What was the team size when the deal went through? Did they stick around for a
Yeah.
little while? And how did that work?
So, it was in the middle of COVID. So, as a new CEO, I was managing different things. We the business is moving online. We have our partners, biggest sponsors, who are starting to say, "We know we can't pay anymore. We don't know what's the future going to be." So we have to let go people. So I had to also fire people and figure that out. We were also many were working part time. A very challenging period, like for everybody at that time. So my team, the company in itself, we were, I don't know, I don't remember, like maybe 10, 15, 10, around 10. And the accelerators, it was like four, four people. So small team. Today, they're much bigger team. Um,
Mm,
so small
got it.
company, agile company, yeah, around 10 people.
Got it. Okay. And yeah, I mean, I guess COVID really sped things along for the deal length. Like 10 days is crazy to think about. Just
Yeah.
all that compacted in there. And I think it's a good segue into being prepared. So, what kind of tips can you share around preparing yourself and your business?
So, if you look at my story, it's very typical for an exit where you start building a relationship with the company that is acquiring you way before it happens. So the relationship building started almost 2 years before that because I've been working with them, not knowing, will they acquire it? I was not in a rush either, actually. I was having it and I was wondering, what can I do? If they don't want it, I can still run it. Maybe, I'm learning now, I will figure it out. I would say one of my biggest advice, and this is also what we advise companies we work with now when we prepare them to exit, is to start building a relationship with your competitors and possible buyers to understand what they're looking for and shape a product that actually matches their ambitions, expectations, and needs. It's like when you sell to a client. You need to understand them and their problems, what they want to achieve. It's like when you're pitching to an investor. You need to understand their psychology. What are they looking for? What kind of companies are they investing in? Same for a company that may acquire you when you're planning for your exit. You need to understand what is the problem that that company has. Maybe entering a new market. So, do you have that market? Maybe they would like to get access to technology you don't have access to. So it's about building relationship to be able to understand the counterparty, to shape the product in a way that will match them, and it will be a smooth, planned, programmed transition.
Got it. Got it. And I guess timing. Obviously, COVID makes this a little bit of a
For
a
sure.
clear case here, but you've been part of companies that exited later on, and maybe you could share just some tips around when the right time to exit a company is for people, because everyone's different, every business is different. But
Yes.
any knowledge there?
Um, I would say what I see often is that when the company is doing okay, but actually there could be so many reasons for an exit. The one that I've seen most often is when the founder or the founding team starts to be a bit exhausted and have exhausted their options. Okay, so what's next? We're here, we're doing it. Do we maybe want to sell, to do something else? We have found a new project, a new problem to solve that we're interested in. Or it could be, I'm tired now doing this with limited resources. I want to join a bigger company so they can inject some cash and competence, and I continue working with them, but we scale. We grow at another level. So there could be different reasons, and it's very, I would say, personal.
Hmm.
Some
Yeah.
founders never want to sell. Some want to sell, and it could be for different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and people are in different chapters. One founder could be just getting started. One of the founders could have just started a family. One
Exactly.
person could be ready to retire. There's so many different factors in it. That's
It could
really.
be it could be also the investors who are pushing for an exit.
Mhm. Yeah, there's so many different ingredients that kind of go into
Mhm.
into it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a good segue into like overall the lessons you've learned, and that takes us to the finale of knowing what you know now. What would you tell yourself 10 years ago?
Um, I think that 10 years ago, when I started, I underestimated the importance of making money quickly.
Hmm.
So everything I do right now in my company is we make money first. That's the validation. That's the best validation. Make
Hmm.
money first upfront. And this is also how I help founders package their product and figure out what's the right problem to solve and focus on the business model and the pricing model. How can we actually save money, uh, increase your prices, reduce your costs, optimize your company, optimize your workflow, optimize the team, and focus on satisfying your clients.
Hmm.
I underestimated that, like many, we have an idea and we're very idealistic. We're visionary people and we just want to go ahead and we figure out everything along the way. Yes, you do figure out a lot along the way, but if you don't figure out the money question early on, you may not have a lot of time to figure out the rest.
Hmm.
You have to shut down, you have to slow down, you get burned out. So money first, and not investor money, please. Client money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic. Fantastic advice. That's the first of that type of advice, which I can totally respect. I've learned that as well. I know a lot of, seasoned entrepreneurs out there always say, like, get the money as the form of validator that you're solving
Exactly.
something people need, above a sign up, above anything in
Yes.
terms of intent, because money is what the check mark is.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, cool. So what are you working on now?
Well, different things. Right now, I we coach founders on fundraising, scaling. I also connect them to trained board members. We also train board members, and I started a year ago, so I'm quite active on LinkedIn. And a year ago, when coaching founders on scaling and gaining customers and so on, I started to introduce LinkedIn as a tool. It's working so well that now my programs are basically how to grow your company by leveraging LinkedIn,
Hmm.
how to gain customers, build a community, users, attract investors and talent thanks to LinkedIn. That's my big focus right now, and it's very. I love it. I love it. It's fun. It's fun. So
Nice.
I've been advising and coaching on fundraising and scaling and building accelerators for many years now, 6, 7 years. And we talk about we talk about, the pitch deck. We talk about uh, so many things that today I don't believe in, like pitch deck. Even when I raise money for my companies, investment companies, I raised small fund last year with some angel investors. Did I use a pitch deck? Absolutely not. You know, how did I raise money? It's by building relationships, by meeting somebody around a lunch or a coffee and saying, this is what we're doing. Are you in or are you out? You know, as simple as that. Within 10 minutes, you know if the person is going to invest in you or not.
Mhm.
This is what I teach via my programs, and I also teach how to make the most of LinkedIn because the world is on LinkedIn. You have 1 billion people on LinkedIn. Your clients are on LinkedIn, your investors are on LinkedIn. I met my investors, many of them via LinkedIn. So it's a great channel to leverage.
Nice. Very nice. And where can people go and learn more about what you're doing?
They can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm very active. And I have a newsletter. That's where they can pick my brain and access my most valuable advice via my newsletter on Substack.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, wherever you guys are listening to this, on iTunes or Spotify, the links will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you so much.